Julie stands about. She's a full figured woman at like 4 foot.
I'm not full figure when you say that.
No, I don't mean to say it in a negative. Like you fit your body type is basically what I'm saying.
I'm 4'11".
When she stands next to me, it's like Shaq standing next to like a midget. It's like there is a huge height difference when you'll see the picture later.
Yes, I'm short, but I have.
Of course, everybody has picked on me all my life. Thank you for reminding me, interviewer guy.
Well, I stopped growing at 12, and
Oh, that sucks. That was it.
Well, I mean, if I didn't have that growth spurt in my life, I'd be really short.
That's true.
I'd be like, I'm 4'11" now, so I'd probably be like 4'5" or 5'6".
But I'm almost 6 foot. So I mean, there is still a 1.5 foot difference. Anyways, let's get off people and their abilities and how they look.
But I don't look anorexic anymore, and I'm not a full figure person, but I don't look anorexic.
I'm not full figured in
Would
nasty.
you make it sound like
I feel like I'm fat shamed now. Like I feel awful now.
It's like this time I went on a dating site, and this guy's like, I don't date bigger girls, and I'm like, I'm not a bigger girl.
I would hate to see what your Tinder chat looks like.
I don't have a Tinder. Maybe I need to make a Tinder.
My friend does online dating, but I don't talk to that dude very much anymore, so I don't know.
I kind of given up on dating a little bit right now. I'm just focusing on myself.
And that's good. Hey, because I'm doing it too. Like the things that we've been doing, like moving, me joining a pretty successful podcast is pretty a lot of weight on the extra time I have. And now I said to my wife like 3 days ago, hey, I'm going to start a new podcast. She goes, what the fuck, Aaron? Can you come home eventually?
I want your wife on the podcast. I want to hear
actually
her.
Talked about it, and she goes, I'm timid and shy when it comes to microphone. It's really intimidating. She was never a performer. She never did any of the arts. She's been very center focused with a work ethic for where she is, you know what I mean? But as soon as like the cameras go off, as they say, and the work is done, she's definitely not someone who would like to be on microphone. She's not comfortable with it.
But I've seen some pictures of I've never met her yet, but she's very beautiful.
Thank you.
Very beautiful wife.
I told her that she would like this show.
Yeah.
Like the version of the Salty Aaron Show, or a pinch of salt. I got to do it every time because I don't know what I'm going to actually call the show.
I don't know yet. I'm not sure what you should name it.
Yeah, it's
Swiss
always
cheese.
a word. Yeah, it's. I kind of like the Salty Aaron Show, and then the tagline, like the motto, is a pinch of salt. But then I came up with a better one after I had wrote the bio and everything like that, and I had made it through like the harder parts of like developing a new show and putting it on the out and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, we're just talking, man. And I really said that in an earlier podcast. I was like, man, I really like it because we're talking to the police. We're just talking, man.
So, Aaron, this is really random. You know, I'm a little ADD, but
that's fine. That's why I love this show, because it doesn't matter where it goes.
So, a long time ago,
mm-hmm.
I mean, I still kind of, when I'm tired, I get a speech problem, but I had a speech problem for many, many years.
Right.
And people would be like, what are you saying? They think I was drunk or whatever. I don't know. But my grandfather was an artist for Indiana. Like a lot of his paintings are the state parks and all. He passed away a while ago.
Okay.
But
sorry for your loss.
I mean, he passed when I was high school, but
okay, so it's not a fresh wound.
Yeah, it's not like he just.
It's like now we can talk about him and honor him or dishonor him, whatever I see fit. You know what I mean?
He was a very great artist. He wasn't like me on stage, but he was an artist. You know, was painting art. He did natural. Right. He was a natural wild artist. But my grandfather and I used to do these fake radio shows.
Oh, no kidding!
And we used to talk about this thing called the Pizza Farm.
The Pizza Farm, okay.
And I would be like randomly just saying random stuff, but it was really cute. It was really cute about talking about this farm that made pizzas.
Okay.
And
I'm really digging where this is going.
I wish I could. I have to ask my mom where these tapes are because I know we put them somewhere. And I'm like, yelling.
You have them recorded? That's even more fantastic.
They got to be somewhere. I'm sure my mom has them somewhere, hopefully. But I'm like a little girl, and we did this through several years. and like I said, I had a severe speech problem, but I'm saying I'm yelling random stuff out. And
they're like, Grandpa, I want cockatoo and pepperoni and lamb's leg on my pizza. And some macaroni. Pull some macaroni on that motherfucker too.
But people would listen to it all the time, like, oh my gosh, that's the cutest thing ever. But we used to do that all the time. Me and my grandpa have the fake radio shows and record them on the tapes and all that.
Ah, wow. That is like so early starting of performing arts. That is such a great story. Mine was, for some reason, this is going to lead into the story. So for some reason, when I was growing up, I had the same identical facial features as a young Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah, you look like him a little bit.
Yeah, except now he's ripped and buff, and he came off his like drug life, and then came out, and like he still has that fucked up Macaulay Culkin face.
Yeah,
but he is like a fucking MMA fighter body now.
Is he single?
No, he's getting married to his girlfriend,
again,
who is also Asian. No, I mean, his life and mine have correlated in the ways of like odd and strange ways. And I know that sounds weird. So one of my jokes on stage is that, you see, I can talk about my own art, like comedy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. That's a kind of a little fucking burn to somebody out there if they're listening. So nothing, no one you know. It's someone in Chicago.
Chicago.
Yeah, those fucking Chicagoans.
The Bears.
So anyways, I always had this weird kind of parallel style life as Macaulay Culkin. And it really is fucking true of how identical, maybe not I didn't have the successful child life, you know what I mean? But what led him to an extreme drug problem and shit. Anyways, what I'm trying to tie this into, I hope, at this point, is that I've always had a weird correlation with Macaulay Culkin. And in this particular story, and why I said all that is, since you were talking about doing your pepperoni farm show, is where I got started. Is I had, when they did Home Alone 2, he had that little device called a talk boy. Mm-hmm. Do you remember what those are?
Yeah.
And basically, I remember my parents had bought me a talk boy, and I started hearing my voice back, and I got comfortable doing it. Uh-huh. And now, at I went to school for journalism. We talked a little bit about that in the last show. And basically, I had a radio show, and I did this. And then 10 years went by. I mean, like, literally, I did nothing with my voice of any kind. I did a little stand-up comedy in Chicago for about a year and a half. It got pretty successful, but it would be very spontaneously. It would never be like a show, like a planned showcase or anything. Mm-hmm. But then in my 30s, I was like, I listened to some other people say fuck on the radio, and I'm like, well, my FCC ban is done. I'm going to start a podcast. Like, no more NDAs or anything like that. I've outlived my contracts, and I thought, hell, I'll start a fucking podcast, and that's how I got into podcasting.
Really?
Yeah, and if you listen to it now, like our conversation, this sounds like something that someone else would listen to, and it doesn't sound like every other podcast in Orlando, which is basically like, all right, I see where they scripted that shit. You know what I mean? And that's what I wanted to throw back to you. When did you start like the improv portion of your career? Because it's still pretty raw and new to be on stage doing improv with you.
Yeah.
But but you've been doing it longer. Obviously, you're the one who are facilitating and teaching classes on it. So where did that start for you?
Well, I mean,
I totally threw you off there, didn't I?
No.
Macaulay Culkin retard joke always does that.
No. I mean,
didn't even tell the joke.
They'd always do little things like in middle school and high school, and then I wish in college we did more focus on improv. Mm-hmm. But I would watch people do improv, and I'm like, this is amazing. It's not, even though I was using those skills, I didn't really learn the aspects of improv until I moved to Orlando.
Okay.
And
how long have you lived in Orlando now?
It's been 8-9 years.
So you're right. I think I've been here roughly 12 now.
Okay. I moved here with a restaurant to open up a restaurant, but to do entertainment work. It was more so than Indiana. I know it wasn't LA or New York, but it was a stepping stone. Well,
Orlando's a great city to be jumping into a comedy and performing arts because you have a lot of clubs down here. And if you really, really try, you can get, and I know you already are, you're in some of the, when they're looking through the Rolodex, you're one of the people that they'll call. That's fine. You'll be fine to just go and do a performance, an improv. Like if they called you like 2 hours, you can be like, okay, I can do it. I can be a stand-in for someone who's like maybe working that night and you had the night off or something. But you have that talent, and that is not easily developed. It was very hard for me to do improv with you guys the first time. I mean, I kind of mended into it pretty easily.
You did a great job.
It was fun as hell, and I've been trying to get back on stage, but I just want to go to performing. I don't want to do practice. I don't want to do warm-ups. Because, I mean, this right here is spontaneous. Like, there's no set schedule for this, you know? Or, I mean, we literally planned on doing this last night, and now we're doing it tonight, you know?
So, actually, I kept having people tell me that I need to go to SAC Comedy Lab.
Right.
And I volunteered, and I just honestly, because I was always working, when I came here, I was mostly doing hospitality, and I really wanted to do entertainment, but that's just what happened. And I was going over to SAC to volunteer, and I saw this gentleman named Richard, and I was like, he is amazing on stage. This is unbelievable, his skills in improv. And then he was like, yeah, I'm having a workshop. If you want to join, you're welcome to. It's free. So I started doing this workshop. I met the most amazing improv artists, people that have been doing improv forever, and I got to do it with them. And these people, they're all levels. People that have been doing improv forever. Some people weren't doing it, or they're just. But I met a lot. Kind of
like half-assing it. Like, I'm just here because I have nothing else to do on a random fucking Wednesday.
And I wish I was able to go to more of them, but you know, you're always having to work, and I have like 20 jobs.
She really does have like 20 jobs. She's just as busy, I think, as I am. So us sitting down in the same room is very difficult. This was not easy to do.
So I met some really amazing improv artists, and I was like, wow. This is things that I wish I got to do more in college. I'm not a classical actress, and that's what I trained in college. I mean, it was great aspects, and I did play a lot of weird character roles. I played dead people a lot and stuff like that.
It really is hard to for our listener. I just want, and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. Is when you're literally on set playing dead. I mean, you can't fucking move. Like, that's it, unless you were playing a zombie.
Well, I played a Asian ghost hooker one time.
I don't even know where to eat that sandwich. Like, the Asian dead hooker. I mean, most hookers end up dying anyways, but
they killed me again too in the play.
But what was the name of this play? I think
Sticks and Bones.
Sticks and Bones. This is what I'm going to be looking up.
It's about the Vietnam War.
Okay.
And Harriet and Ozzy. Am I saying that right?
Ozzy and Harriet?
Yes, sorry, I schmucked that up. It takes place with them. Their son, their one son, David, was David and what else? The other guy. Their other son comes back from the Vietnam War. He's blind.
Okay. Like by some kind of effect of war? Is he blind? Was he previous sight? Okay.
From the war. He falls in love with me. I'm a hooker.
Okay, so he's pretty womaning you.
He falls in love with me.
Does he know that you're a hooker? Or is he just a blind guy who?
No, he's not blind yet. He's not blind yet. But before he's blind, he falls in love with me. He gets me pregnant.
Okay. So this is a serious role, kind of like there's serious overtones on roles that require actors' skill to do. Okay.
And then I die, but I come back and follow him while he's blind. And when he comes back home, and he's telling his parents, and his parents are just like, knock it off. So you're like his PTSD ghost. And then they finally...
That is fucking awesomely dark.
And they see me, the father sees me, and then he kills me again and puts me in a bag. And I speak in Vietnamese at the end.
That's nuts.
Yeah.
That's like some... it's like a darker version of Sweeney Todd, you know what I mean? Like, I still have yet to see Sweeney Todd. My theatrical attempts.
I don't want to see that. I think that scares me a little bit, that play.
What, Sweeney Todd?
Yeah.
Oh, I love the movie. It was actually kind of the introduction to me in some more obscure film. You know what I mean? Is Johnny Depp playing the barber of whatever street? I forget. It's been a little while since I think the last play that I saw was something like Joseph and the Technicolor Dreamcoat.
I kind of rather see that kind of show, but
I've seen it like 6 times though, and I'm not a religious person, so that's a really weird play. It was one of those shows that had a lot of colors when I was a high school kid, and I loved it. I don't know.
But I made people
nerd.
I made people cry when I did that show.
Dude, that sounds like a seriously